For right now, though, why don't we start with character number 1 tonight, and let's build up some energy. Let's bring into the world this new creation, this new character. He or she is just going to have this breath of life to him or her, and will help set what are we going to do for the rest of the week. What will be the theme of the map? Or I'm kind of thinking maybe instead of a map, we'll work on a dungeon this week. Maybe we can alternate back and forth. Oh, you did incorporate that, Dark Wolf. Very good. And I'm glad that Project Workshop was able to help you out with that. Flat Hat is back. Well, Flat Hat, you came back just in time. We are now going to get going here. We have a male and female, and the possibility for a multi-class character with this percentile roll. Let's roll it and find out what's happening. 65, we have a male character. We are going to roll a d10 and find out which race he is going to be. 2, he is an elf. And which kind of elf? We're going to go odds or evens. Evens, we have a high elf. Now, there is a chance that if we do roll an evil character, that it could be a drow instead. We're going to find out next, because the alignment is right down here. We're going to roll 2 percentiles and find out where on the chart he exists. And speaking of evil, we have an 8438. This is going to be a neutral evil character. If elf is rolled, you may choose for it to be a drow. Do you... well, I was going to ask, do you all want to see a drow generated? And Plunder Loot seems to want to do a drow instead of a high elf. Does anyone else want to go for the drow route? Or do you want to stick with a high elf? Kind of a magical elf that can speak a couple languages. Drow beat them in the submission. Well, so it's not quite a Ladrin because they are their own thing, but no, looks like we're getting more drows here. Tricey, that's not necessarily a bad way of doing it, but the popular sentiment looks like we're going in the direction of making a drow tonight. So that is what we're going to do. We will roll a, we're going to roll a percentile and find out if our drow is in fact an evil drow, and there's a 90% chance of that, or if we did make the conditions for a drow, it could be neutral or good. Let's find out with this percentile roll. 8. It is keeping its neutral evil alignment. So instead of a high elf, we have a neutral evil male drow, or a dark elf. Because this is an evil character, if we roll Cleric or Paladin, we are going to have some options presented to us as well. We're going to skip over that for right now. What level are we going to generate this character? Let's roll a percentile. 71, this is a level 16 character. At level 16, you're going to get 4 stat bumps. 4, 8, 12, and 16. Most, at least some DMs will allow you to replace a stat bump with a feat. I'm such a person, and to showcase what feats are and do, I want to open that up. I'm going to roll a percentile, and we're going to find out in lieu of how many stat bumps are we going to take feats with this character. So percentile again. 87. All right, that is 3. So we're going to take 1 ASI, or ability score improvement, and the others are going to be feats. 1, 2, and 3. Now, his background. This is important. Let's roll a 13-sided die and figure out which background he has. 5. He is a folk hero. Now, if you all know the Drow, I want you to consider what would a Drow folk hero be or do? Or, while we're going to be going over the words in the PHB for what a normal, whatever that means, normal folk hero would be, how would that manifest with a male drow in that society? And one that has come from that society, right? We're not talking about an outcast good drow or even like a part-time neutral drow. You know, he is an evil drow. And so what would this folk hero slant be? A folk hero drow would be a moon-blessed elf. Oh yeah, so that came out in Mordenkainen's. Yeah, so, well, was it Saloon? I thought it was Corellian. And that's kind of a very troll thing for Corellian to do, or Corellan, I don't know if it's an ion, for Corellan to do, is to just start plucking people in the Underdark and giving them that optional ability. Yeah, we'll see his personality, Bubonic. There's 10 different origins for a folk hero. Let's roll d10 and figure out which one applies to him. 3. Now, I don't know what that means offhand, but we're just making a placeholder, so it doesn't matter right now. Folk hero number 3. We're going to roll 2d8 for personality traits. Well, all right, that's a 4 and a 4. Let's get something different. He's super 4, whatever 4 is. 4 and 6. And lastly, we're going to roll 3d6 for an ideal bond and flaw. 3, 2, and 1. There's more placeholders. Again, don't worry about what it means. We'll get to it. Practice a little patience. Now, we have a big golden D12. Yeah. Big golden D12 for which class is he going to be? And we'll find out. 11. We have a warlock character, and warlocks, we're gonna gen up 2d3 because there are 3 patrons and 3 pacts in which the warlock can choose. So let's roll 2d3. 2 and 3. So we have a warlock. 2 and 3. So this is Archfey. No, the Fiend. The Fiend and Pact of the Tome. So we have a Fiend Tome lock. I guess is a way to do that. Medium-sized creature. There we go. Sold his soul to the devil, he did. Corellan, yeah. Fiend fits. Yeah, you could very much argue that that Lolth is a fiend. However, there are lesser-known drow gods and goddesses. I mean, not to mention just direct contact with demons because evil. Warlocks are not ritual casters by default. You'd have to take that feat, Plunderloot. Roger Twy, hello. Thank you for joining us. There's this great bit in one of the FR books about how when the Drow first all ran away, they didn't really know what their new gods wanted. So they just tried these random rituals and hoped they didn't get turned to goo. All right, we have some physical features now to give him. Drow start at 4 feet 5 inches tall, and we're going to add 2d6 to his height. We're going to add 6 inches, so this is a 5-foot tall drow. We are going to take this same 6 that we rolled, and we are going to multiply it by 1d4 and add that to a base weight of 75. 4. All right, so we have a 99 pound, 5-foot tall drow. This drow is in some part of a life cycle that's determined with a percentile. 55. So we have an adult drow. Elves here. Adult is column 3. So here we have between 201 and 350. I'm going to generate a 150-sided die, and we'll find out how old he is. We're adding 132. All right, so this is 382 years old. Whew. He survived a lot of stuff down in the Underdark. Cool. There we go. Our placeholders are just that, in place. Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Tome does make you a... It sounds weird. Tome makes you a magic user warlock. Yeah. It does at least give you a couple rituals, Coffee Cat. Thank you for pointing that out. Oh, sorry. Pardon me. I should get a pitcher of ice water or something. Yeah. Yep. That'll do. Let's start with our background, because that describes who we are before we get into what do we do as a class. Who are we? We're a folk hero, right? Folk hero number 3 states, I stood alone against a terrible monster. What would a male drow consider to be a terrible monster? And before you say a female drow, you're not incorrect. But let's face it, he wouldn't still be alive if he actually did that. So what would the terrible monster be that this male drow stood up to become lauded as a folk hero? An Illithid? The Drow and Illithids do work together, but you know what? They can also backstab each other really easily. Let's see, we get animal handling and survival. There we go. Pardon me. Sorry. We do get rustic hospitality. So people who know us, as long as we're not endangering their lives, will give us shelter and food. Destroyed an elder brain of the Illithid. Yeah, steel dust, a beholder. I mean, there's a whole ecology in the Underdark. Santa says, or a super scion gith. Ooh. Well, I mean, keep your own brains. Speaking of brains churning, keep your brains churning. Illithid hate drow. They're just another enemy that they can work with. Well, yeah, they don't have to like it, but they do. And there's an active slave trade between them. All right, what is his personality like? 4 and 6. I have a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solution to arguments. Now, this is generic, I don't know. This is generic personality trait. If we want to give it a little bit of a twist, man, actually, in that case, he's really like a neutral good character if he's in the Underdark, right? I mean, his culture wouldn't see him as bad necessarily, as evil. But anyway, so what kind of a twist would this... Because he'll tell you this straight up. He'll look you in the eyes, and this is something he'd say. But are his actions going to jive with what you would consider that statement to support? And personality trait number 6. Thinking is for other people. I prefer action. Always give enemies a chance to die honorably. So yeah, he'll kill you. Oh, pardon me. He'll kill you, but he won't kill you on the ground. He'll kill you, where you stand. Or if he does manage to sneak up on you right before he cuts your throat, he will at least, give you the courtesy of announcing his presence and saying what he's going to do and why, and maybe that, your blood will be used for, a public works project or something. It does seem like he may be brash. Let's continue to explore his personality, Plunderloot. His ideal is number 3. Freedom. Tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. What would be a tyrant? Is a tyrant people in the own Drow government structure? The male-female division? Or does he mean that tyrants could be these Duragar, Illithids, Beholders? There's all kinds of other sentient races. And does he view them as tyrants trying to muscle in on Drow territory? And you know what, Santa? Think about it too. What if he beat a monster that was like an aspect of this demon, and by proving himself, this patron revealed himself to this drow, saying, "You've done something that others haven't been able to do. I wish to grant you a portion of my power if you'll have it, because I want your strength on my team." And there you go. Bonds, number 2. I worked the land. I love the land, and I will protect the land. Ah, is he a mushroom farmer? Is he a miner? Is he someone who grows mold? Is he someone who hunts beasts? What would a farmer or a land worker, what would the concept of that be for a drow like this? Who rules the troglodytes? Someone who can tolerate their smell, bubonic one. Oh, pardon me. And lastly, his flaw is number 1. The tyrant who rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed. Alright, so is this tyrant a female drow? Again, are we sticking to the normal, socioeconomic politics, the gender politics of the drow? Or maybe he lives in a small colony that was taken over. Whoops. Hey, there's the pizza. I'll be right back, everyone. Okay, I have pizza, I have a drink. Maybe I'll end up getting a little bit, energized from this after being oot and a boot. So thank you all for your patience here as I come back, and I will be enjoying some pizza on stream. I mean, I'd hate to fall asleep, because what if one of you puts my hand in warm water, or I don't know, you fill my hand with some shaving cream and you tickle my nose on stream? That'd be terrible. All right, microphone is on and webcam is on. Hi. Oh, some Svirf Nevlin. I also saw Darrow mentioned above too. Perhaps the Snurfneblin that are under the influence of an Alhoon, bent on the utter destruction of his homeland. Ooh. And so he's, despite him being a male, although a lot of males are conscripted to guard duty and to being a soldier, maybe he actually is achieving some folk hero status because of his particular bravery. And what that might even mean is a drow female might end up giving him effectively like breeding rights, right? She will choose him, you know, you will give me a child, because he's worked so hard. He's proven that he has wits, glory, luck, strength, anything, guile that the drow would want. And so in his own way, maybe he's securing his own future, because he is, this is almost like a courtly dance. And so a lady drow might notice him, ooh, and want to make some drow babies with him. My cat's totally not up here because she wants a piece of pizza. Totally. Totally. All right, so we have aspects about him filled in. Let's continue to pursue that trend. Huh. He gets, as a folk hero, one type of artisan's tools as proficiencies. As we have been conceptualizing the character in chat, what kind of an artisan tool do you believe he would be proficient in using? Hey Usher, welcome. No, it's no problem if you're just joining. We are making a random character from the ground up, and as we're getting these random placeholders, we're connecting the dots and we're telling the story of this character as we're building him bit by bit. Plunder says torture tools. Flat Hat Wide Jeweler's tools. To create pendants. Does he? Well, so really, what about him resounds as a jeweler? And I'm not saying that he can't be. All of this can work. Learning to make rings of power. So eventually he wants to get into a magic item creation. And he's doing the mundane stuff right now. Oh, to further impress the lady drow. Okay. Well, that would be important plunder loot. And I can see where that is, I can see where that's something that would be taught and passed down. Maybe in these circumstances, though, he's more the soldier and not the torturer. But I totally understand your, where you're coming from. Thank you, Own Dog. Yep. She's gripped onto the chair because she wants pizza, even though she'll tell you she doesn't want pizza. Totally. She's like melted over the side. So, alright, I'm getting the vibe from you all here. Officially in D&D, in the player's handbook, torture tools don't exist. However, from the other suggestions, tinker tools or goldsmith tools, jeweler tools, lapidary tools, whatever, I think you can accomplish the same, right? They're minute tinkering things that are meant to get into places and to scrape and to place and to pin and to do all this finite work. Maybe if a male drow's getting out of hand, in order to teach him that the females are in control. Oh, can I have my sleeve back, ma'am? Ma'am, thank you. In order to help remind the male that the females are in control of society, you know, with these fine tools, with these jeweler's tools, they pull his fingernails, and then they actually have some very beautiful long gold ones. And so then they'll just tap those into the ends of your fingers to replace. And so that way you see, like, oh, so this is what it's like to be in control, and this is the price that you pay for, you know, can you bear this? Can you maintain this? And so in that case, we've turned something like tinker tools or jeweler tools into torture devices. And also vehicles, land. So he can drive a wagon or whatever, maybe a chariot or something else that the Drow use in the Underdark to get around. Alright, cats. Oh, I apparently have a parrot now. You're completely on my shoulder. Alright, you get this one. Oh, don't be offended, it's a pepperoni. You want to see something disappear? Ready? Totally didn't just want that pizza. It was all for human affection. See, signet rings for the elite. Yes, coffee cat, a kitty. Blowing her cover. I think she does want a pizza. Yeah, Own Dog. Yep. I don't even need to roll insight. jeweler's tools, a shovel. Hey, a shovel can come in handy in the Underdark. An iron pot. Common clothes. And a belt pouch with 10 gold in it. Or a drow equivalent. Yeah, sure. The component for that spell is it has a food-based component. You want a piece of ham? You gotta look pretty for the camera, though. And she's gone. Let's see what elves get, right? We've made ourselves into a folk hero. Now, what does it mean to be an elf, and particularly a drow? Dex score increases by 2, so we're gonna just put a little note down here. She's a shoulder cat if I have something she wants. "30 feet a run, 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly." We get dark vision, and as a drow, we have dark vision out to 120 feet, not just 60. We have proficiency in the perception skill, and we also do get Fey ancestry, meaning we have advantages versus being charmed, and we can't magically be put to sleep. Common and Elven, and and we do get the trance also, meaning that instead of having to sleep for 8 hours, we can be semi-conscious for 4 and get the same benefit. Charisma goes up by 1, and radius of 120. Sunlight sensitivity. So if something is bright light, yeah, that's no good for us. We do also get Drow magic. You know the Dancing Lights cantrip. When you reach 3rd level, you can cast the Fairy Fire spell once per day. When you reach 5th level, you can also cast the Darkness spell once per day. Charisma is a spellcasting ability. Ooh, no, not Charisma, as a Warlock. So in that case, we're going to get Drow magic as a Dancing Lights. And then we will get down here Drow magic. We will get Fairy Fire once a day. I guess it's really more of once per long rest. Drow magic. Darkness is a 2nd level spell. Darkness once per long rest. And Drow weapon training. This actually could expand our options as a warlock here. We're going to get some fun weapons. Rapiers, short swords, and hand crossbows. Yeah, there's in other editions, I don't know if it's really been brought up in 5th yet, but the Drow have some custom weapons, including like a 3-bladed boomerang weapon. Excuse me, can I have my sleeve back? Thank you. Uh-oh, you're gonna have to get really close for this one. What are you gonna do? Come on. What are you gonna do? Don't look at me. Look, you're smart. If you had opposable thumbs, you'd be dangerous. Come on. You're fine. Here, I'll support my elbow. Ready? We're going to move slowly. All right. Now we're stable. What are we doing? Oh, we're retreating? I guess she's getting shy. No, you want this, right? Come on. A little further. You got it. A little further down. There. Let everyone see your pretty face. Come on. And she's gone. The multi-headed snake whip. Hey, Dragon Slayer. For any of you who do join us on Discord as well, you know, in addition to following here, if your name is different on Discord than what it is here on Twitch, I would ask that you sync up your nicknames so it'll be easier for us to communicate. Yeah, she's back for more, but she's not going to get any because this is the last. So, congratulations, we're a Drow who's a folk hero. Now, let's find out what being a Warlock is going to add to this mix. th level right here. Let's see. Proficiency bonus is a +5. We know 4 cantrips. We have 3 5th level spell slots. Warlocks are different than other casters. Their spell slots work. Hey. No. Stop it. Ma'am. That's right, you behave if you want more. Okay, that's better. Oh, you put a new pic of Rihanna up in our Discord, Dark Wolf? Is that from the Made RPG shenanigans of yesterday? And yes, level 16 Usher, we randomly rolled that that's what level he's going to be. It's like a crystal light. It's strawberry, banana, kiwi, I believe. Well, Coffee Cat, they may not get a bunch of like high, like super power spells, but they can do a lot of stuff by slotting in those invocations. Yeah, it's very good, Usher. And the best part is, it has no calories or sugar. So that means if I want to splurge a little bit and get a dessert, I'm not occupying it on a beverage. I can actually savor, you know, something else. All right. We're going to do spells almost at the as the last part of this character, because part of this is going to require us actually having ability scores, and ability scores are almost always the last thing that we add to a character. And you know what? We're talking about invocations. By 16th level, we're going to get to know 7 invocations. So if we come over here, invocations, I would suggest that you record when you get these invocations. That way it's easy to track, and you have a bit of a diary about what was going on. Because odds are, you're choosing an invocation based on the circumstances of the story you're going through. So we have a level 2. We got 2 of these things. Level 2. And then we get a new one at 5, 7, 9. There we go. $12 and $15. This also helps because some invocations have to have a minimum level associated with them. Invocation where you get to see in the dark, even magical darkness, is awesome. Yep, just remember, it doesn't work in Hunger of Hadar. My Wizlock is taking the one that grants mage armor without spending a spell slot. Yeah, because you become magical, right? As this agent of your patron instills you, you become a magical being. You're just this tendril, literal or metaphorical, of your patron. And so you get instilled with magic and magical capabilities. You're not just able to cast magic. Because your will isn't necessarily your own. You get a little bit of wiggle space, right? To think on your own with your limited spell slots. That's the freedom that your patron's granting you. Yeah, you know some spells. In this case, at level 16, we know 13 spells. That's great. You know 13 spells, but you know what? You get 3 spell slots. Enjoy the pittance of freedom of will that I give you. Because aside from that, you're slotting in spell effects because you're my agent. You are mine. You're my property. Yes, we already picked a patron usher. We are a Fiend Tome Warlock. Can you please stop destroying my chair? Yeah. This does not benefit you. I promise. I'm just touching her forehead right now. Hey. I love you. I said that sternly enough. Okay. I have no more pizza. Well, none I'm going to give you. I have leftovers for later. Okay. Hit points. Dun, dun, dun. We are 16th level, so conveniently, we have 16 D8 hit die. Your hit dice are the intrinsic recovery ability, mental, emotional, physical, between combats that you can use. We're not going to worry about hit points yet. We need stats for that. And right now, our character is a character, not a stat pile. Armor proficiencies. We have proficiency with light armor and simple weapons. No tool proficiencies. Saving throws are wisdom and charisma. So as we come over here, we're going to fill in the diamonds next to wisdom and charisma because those represent the saving throws, not just the skills. And then we're going to choose 2 from Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. Now, as we choose that, remember, we're building a character, a living, breathing character who has his own place in society. He's done his own thing, and so I think referring to his personality can help us determine which 2 skills that we give him. Arcana, Deception, History, Intimidation, Investigation, Nature, and Religion. So let's take a look. His personality traits. I have a strong sense of fair play and always try to find the most equitable solution to arguments. Thinking is for other people. I prefer action. Freedom. Tyrants must not be allowed to oppress the people. I work the land, I love the land, and I will protect the land. And the tyrant who rules my land will stop at nothing to see me killed. That is quite a flaw. Now, some of this seems like it's physical, right? And you look over at Warlock, and Warlocks do not get, by default, physical skills. You can always petition your DM and say, look, this is what I've chosen. I want to play this character. Ooh, pardon me. I want to play this character, but can I take athletics instead of something else? Can I take acrobatics instead of something else? And your DM might let you. Just come up with a really good story and a reason why. Nature, since he's worked the land, that does make sense, Coffee Cat. Very good observation. Let's come up here and we'll give him nature. And he gets one other. You know, if he he's a folk hero, and number 3 up here indicates that he stood and faced down a monster that everyone else ran from. So maybe intimidation. Maybe I don't know. Intimidation seems to work. Anything else that you suggest out there, chat? You know, Arcana, you're like, well, but look, he was a farmer, he's a folk hero. Well, don't forget, too, this is what you get, you know, by being a warlock, which is kind of a sum of everything up to that point. He may have picked up Arcana by becoming a warlock, not just by working the land. The tyrant sent a monster and foiled the plot. Yeah, exactly. His patron could grant him arcane knowledge. However, because he says that thinking isn't really for people, he does have knowledge nature. But I think at this point, you know, he has knowledge nature maybe by way of survival. But if he doesn't really want to think about things, he can take intimidation because that's just a presence. That's just a presence that he has. Alright, he gets a light crossbow and 20 bolts or any simple weapon. I do not see him necessarily being a strength warlock. However, if you think he is, throw it out there. This is not my character, this is our character. Let's give him a light crossbow for now. A component pouch or an arcane focus? Well, look, each of these things, they do the same thing. I guess you could say with a component pouch you have the extra step because every so often you should at least tell your DM I'm scrounging up material to restock my component pouch. Because some of your spells do consume your magical components. Strength lock seems fitting though since he worked the land. Hey, that's fine too, Coffee. If we wanted, we could change light crossbow and we can give him any simple weapon. We can give him a strength-based weapon. You know, does he want to bonk people with a mace? Does he want to use a dagger? Dagger can be used off of strength or dex. You agree with Coffee? Sure. So I want you to think of a simple weapon then that we can give him, and we will make him a strength. We'll make him a strength warlock. Maybe he does have a component pouch instead of an arcane focus, in so much that, look, if he's worked the land, he's had different, like seeds and soils and whatnot. Maybe he seems very organized in that sense, and he carries this around with him. Bubonic one, you think it should be a spear? That would qualify as a simple weapon. A component pouch, a scholar's pack, or a dungeoneer's pack. I don't know if he's really the scholarly type. He doesn't like thinking that much. Dungeoneer's pack. Lastly, we're going to give him some leather armor. Another simple weapon and 2 daggers. So let's say we go spear, right? He gets another simple weapon. Does he have 2 spears? Or does he have a poking spear? Maybe he has a hammer of some kind, a light hammer. Maybe he has a mace. Falchion does not count as a simple weapon, Flat Hat. What we're going to be looking at, I'll go over to our equipment chapter for this. All right, here's our simple weapons. Club, dagger, great club, hand axe, javelin, light hammer, or like a throwing hammer, mace, quarterstaff, sickle, spear. I mean, there's an unarmed strike. Light crossbow, dart, short bow, or sling. Tracy, you think that he wields a sickle? Oh, is that because he tends the land, and so he'd be good at like harvesting mushrooms with a sickle already, and then he could just use it to harvest people's throats? So something like a spear, a sickle, and then 2 daggers. One D4, 1D4, slashing, piercing, and spears are 1D6 piercing. I don't know what the bonus damage is going to be because he needs a strength score first, but we're going to set it up for him at that point in time. There's not stats for a scythe, but we did make a death cleric before I took a summer vacation, Usher, and we simply based the scythe off of a great sword. Or you could even use maybe a great axe if you wanted to. All right, let's go back to Warlock. So he is equipped. He has his Patron. I mean, it would be up to us to conceptualize what is a Fiend. Does it have a name? What's its form? How does this manifest? There are things that we can conceptualize over here, but we may not get specifically into with the character creation process. However, if you're playing a Warlock, you gotta think about your Patron. You gotta. Pact Boon. Pact of the Tome. You get a grimoire called Book of Shadows. We get to choose 3 cantrips. So what this is going to do then is then we have our Book of Shadows, and we'll get 3x cantrips. Which, do we even have that much on our spellcasting? That 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Just enough. So we have our Drow Magic one. Then we have our Book of Shadows. And then we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Drow Magic was automatically... Is it Dancing Lights? Yeah. You run into this problem on your Wizard Warlock character sheet, but yeah, oh, so many cantrips. You could do a lot of interesting stuff, though. Alright, we are going to start getting some Mystic Arcanum at 11th level. So there's a Pact of the Tome. By being a Warlock itself, actually the Mystic Arcanum is just going to show up on our choose a 6th level spell, and we go up from there. So in this case, we're going to get Mystic Arcanum and 8th at 15. Alright, so we do not have a 9th level spell yet. But we do get to Mystic Arcanum once per day. One of these spells. No 9th level yet. And we're not high enough for Eldritch Master, so we're not going to worry about that as a class feature. Archfey, the Fiend, expanded spell list. It's important to note that we'll use the Cleric for example. The Cleric gets domain spells. Those spells are given to you, and you can never not memorize them in the morning or whenever you pray. The expanded spell list simply offers you extra spells. It simply offers you extra spells that you can replace other Warlock spells that you might not have had otherwise. So they don't count as domain. They don't just sit on your sheet. They can just be taken in lieu of normal Warlock spells. Dark One's Blessing. So this is going to be a part of our archetype here. Dark One's Blessing. The Dark One's Own Luck. And Fiendish... Ooh, actually, we're going to get all of them here. Fiendish Resilience. And, ooh, Hurl Through Hell. That's a fun one. All right, excellent. Come on, Matt. You got this. You got this. Sorry, if any of you are just joining, it's been a long day. And, whew, I'm flagging. I thought maybe some pizza or something would help, but maybe not. Alright, we have some invocations to slot into our character. If there are any in particular that you think would come in useful, then you can throw them out there. I think something like Beast Speech would be good. You can cast Speak with Animals at will without expending a spell slot. If he worked the land, he would have perhaps been already able to maybe get some animal handling, right? He could already do something, but this just awakened in him the ability to speak to animals intrinsically. That's something that we can... Yeah, it's the itis, Usher. Now, do we have to stick with these? Not necessarily, but these are my recommendations as I'm processing it. So let's say that we take Beast Speech. It was brought up as a Tome pact. Oh, Book of Ancient Secrets. You can now inscribe magical rituals in your Book of Shadows. Choose 2 first-level spells. They're the ritual tag from any class's spell list. So it's kind of slotting in that feat. It's making a feat available to you. Yeah, that's the one. Book of Ancient Secrets. What else can we take at level 5? You can cast Bestow Curse once using a Warlock spell slot. Bestow Curse could be good. Maybe that's how he helps stare down this this monster. The Thief of Five Fates is a pretty good one too. You can cast Bane once using a Warlock spell. One with Shadows is pretty good, especially if he's in the Underdark. When you're in an area of dim light or darkness, you can use your action to become invisible until you move or take an action or react, or until you take an action or a reaction. That could be a good one. Oh, you enjoy blade locks, Usher? Agonizing and Repelling Blast, those are pretty good. You can cast Alter Self at will without expending a spell slot. That's pretty good. But that doesn't come until 15th level. We have a 7, 9, and 12. The Minions of Chaos could be fun, right? If he can summon elementals, maybe he's picked that up from being on a farm. You know, earth and water elementals and such. Or appeasing the fire ones to leave his crops alone. Agonize is basically mandatory unless you go full blade melee. We can throw that stuff in. Yeah, Eyes of the Runekeeper is solid as well. I don't know. Something strikes me he's not really a reader, though. He's just a doer. No, Agonizing Blast. We'll go with those suggestions. Agonizing Blast and Repelling Blast. A little bit more damage and he can push people away, and then he caps it off with Master of Myriad Forms. There we go. All right. Consult the chart here. We are going to get some spells known. Let's give him some abilities here first. Actually, even before we do that, We should probably consider his feats. Well, we could do his standard array first, I guess. Charisma is probably going to be the 15, right? It sounds like you want him to be a strength-based character. Well, or at least have it be a strong secondary. So if we go 14 here, maybe we go... an 8 intelligence. I mean, he's good at nature, but that's, you know, that would be it. 13 con, 12 dex. Well, the 12 dex is there. I think his farming days, though, you know, if we think about his history, Coffee Cat, you like this? Okay. I think he'd have some wisdom with him. If we do this, that's going to put dexterity at a 14. And that is going to put charisma at a 16. Now, we need to choose which 3 feats we want to give him, because some of those do carry ability modifiers. And don't forget, so we get, pardon me, 3 feats, and then we can give him an ASI or an ability score increase. That's +1 to 2 ability. Oh no! Please don't hiccups. That's +1 to 2 abilities, or +2 to 1 ability. I don't know. I think Actor really stands out for him. I could see him taking Actor. Alert, alert, possibly also. We are making a strength-based character, so something like Grappler or Tavern Brawler could be interesting. Yeah, I think Alert can work. Usher, I don't disagree, but because every character can use Lucky, it's just so generic that I actually don't like applying it in our exercises here, because Lucky doesn't really describe the character. You know, whereas some of these other feats, we can weave them more narratively into who he is. But I mean, Lucky, it's just, you might as well give everyone Lucky, because Lucky's just that good. You think Durable, Flat Hat? Let's come down here, Alert. +5 bonus to initiative, can't be surprised, and other creatures don't gain advantage as a result of being hidden. It's pretty good. Hi, Alexander. Good to see you. Durable, increase your con by 1 to a maximum of 20 when you roll hit die to regain points. The minimum number you regain equals twice your con mod. So that's, I guess, more guaranteed hit point recovery. That could explain if he's fighting a series of, I don't know, skirmishes or like a one-man war, how he could, you know, get through things pretty easily enough. You think Observant would work, Usher? Enter waves goes up by 1. Alright, so let's do this. Let's give him alert, durable, and observant. No, Alexander, not. That's your choice as the pilot of that character. Probably drop the wisdom, or the one into wisdom here. So and then we get to add we get to add our last ASI in here. Probably just put it into charisma. If we do that, that's going to give us a 4, 2, -1. Oops. 2 and 2. Yeah, he'll get a lot of bonuses, Flat Hat. Now that we have this, 2, 2, 2's down the line, 0. But these other ones with proficiency are going to be 6s. That'll be a 5 in nature, while everything else is a -1. And 10 for a saving throw, and for intimidation, and 4 for these others. Oops, sorry about that. Wisdom modifier should be 2. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of bleary. I don't know. We might find someone to raid after this character so I can sleep, because I haven't had a lot of it today. I'm sorry. I'm definitely trying here. All right, passive perception is normally 10 plus your perception modifier. However, with the feat, an extra 5 gets added on top of that. So his passive perception is 21. We come over here, initiative is a dex check, so normally it would be just a +2. However, with alert, he's rocking a +7. His armor class, leather, starts you at 11 AC plus dex, so he gets a 13. He's no longer a set of stats, and so if any of you have names that you'd like to supply, you're welcome to do so. Yeah, very cautious boy, Coffee Cat. Also, now that we have stats, we can figure out our current hit points. At level 1, you always get your maximum hit die in hit points, so 8. For every level beyond that, and therefore 15 levels, right? We're a level 16 character. We already took care of the 1, so for the other 15, we go half plus 1 of your hit die. Half of 8 is 4 plus 1 is 5. There you go. Your DM may do it differently, so talk to her or him, but this is the most common method. No, not my usual 3 hours, unfortunately, Fluffy. Now, for all levels, all 16 of them, you get your con modifier in bonus hit points. Well, unfortunately, in this case, that's a 0. So that's going to 0 out right there. Then we have 75 here. Plus 8 is 83. Well, you know, if you think about it, though, Usher, he may have a low con, but he's a heavy magic user for being a warlock. He's very ranged. You know, we even gave him repelling blast to get people away from him. So hopefully he doesn't get hit all that often. Now that we have our strength score, we come over here. Our bonus damage is equal to your modifier for strength. And to attack, because we're proficient with all these weapons, we're going to be attacking at a +7, right? And that is our strength modifier plus our proficiency bonus up here. recovers easier. What else? He's missing his name. Oh. To attack with his spells, because we are proficient, it's 4 plus 5, because, again, proficiency. And then to determine how difficult it is to resist your spells, you add 8 to your spell attack. And there we go. We almost have a complete character. You like Jaren as a name? Jaren what? You or anyone else can supply name components. Jaren what? Casting off of charisma, we had a 17, so that's a plus 9. Here's all our cantrip slots. And as we go through, okay, let's go over spells here. You can see that spells known at first level is 2. So if we come up here, level 1, and then we're going to just copy and paste this. So we know 2 spells at level 1. At level 2, you see we go from spells known from 2 to 3. However, we can't cast higher level magic just yet, right? Because look at our slot level. It's still only first. So then we have a 3/4. Five, 6. Seven, 8. And then 9. There we go. But look at this. At 10th level, we do not gain an extra spell. We still only know 10. We go from 10 at 9 to 10 at 10. What's his name? Oh god, is it Jaren what? Or if you want, we can always do something like so like Jaren. Jaren what? He has a middle name or a middle initial. You what? Oh yeah, yeah. You get a cantrip. You go from 3 to 4. So really, at this point, it is just going to be a matter of filling out his spell sheet. Because we do have Mystic Arcanum, we are going to get a 6th, 7th, and 8th level spell on our way down here to level 16. All right. Again, aside from just some details, I think we have a character. It's really neat being able to explore this different culture through him as well. I hope that you all have enjoyed that. You all have enjoyed doing that. Yeah, you know what, everyone? I hate to do it to cut tonight short, but I'm just really flagging It's been an active day, a good busy day. I'm not saying it in a bad way, but I think we got to raid someone, and we'll make it up. We'll make two characters tomorrow instead, and kind of put that content ahead. But I'm having some difficulty. I don't want to give you a bad presentation. If you're here, even if it's for a little bit, I'd rather you have a fun time. I'm able to be responsive, and I'm not looking just like I'm terrible and like, oh, I'm squinting or anything along those lines. So I think I'm going to call it an evening myself and just go up and go to bed and lay down. Let's give, you know what, Journeyman last night rated us with about 40 people. That was awesome of him. Usher, thank you very much for the follow. And I hope to see you back here. I'll be more bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, but today was just thing. I normally take a nap during the course of the day. I didn't get to do that, so I'm just like, ooh. It's not that your energy levels are low. You're an awesome chat. You have been all evening. I'm the one who's having some problems today with that. Coffee Cat, you want to call him Jaren Shadowcast. And such as will save him as this communally created character. Was that during the game? What do you mean, Fluffy Sheep? Oh, you mean Journeyman's raid? Yeah, he raided us during the game. Well, he's 5 foot tall. Yeah, Coffee Cat. I mean, he's technically medium-sized. Beep, 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 but, you know. So let's go give, J-Man. It doesn't look like Own Dog's even broadcasting right now. Journeyman 1029. So again, sorry everyone for cutting it short, but I don't want to give you a poor performance. I just feel like I'm not doing too well tonight. I'm not sick. I will be back tomorrow, and I'll be refreshed, and we'll get more done. I promise. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have an awesome night. Give J-Man a follow. Like, he is on fire. He's doing official artwork for Lamentations of the Flame Princess, which is kind of an adult topical RPG. But he's doing some really great art, and you know what? If you ask him nicely and blink your eyelids or blink your eyelashes, he might make you into a character.